Nations agreed to develop a shared risk threshold for AI at the Seoul Summit closes. We're going to read into this more from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline of Nations agreed to develop shared risk thresholds for AI and the Seoul Summit closes. 27 nations, including the UK and the US, as well as the EU, have signed up to the new agreements. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So obviously, as the general election campaign kicks off, obviously I want to try and keep an eye out on other stories that are taking place within the UK as much as I possibly can for you guys. But obviously, most of the videos that I'll be covering between now and the general election will obviously be on the general election. But this one here, obviously, I think is an important one here because obviously, as artificial intelligence continues to develop and has an impact on jobs and the many other things, we need to obviously be able to, both the UK and other nations obviously need to have safeguards and assurances that are in place to ensure that people are as prepared as they possibly can as AI continues to develop and the impacts that it has. And I think that the nations in part of this, the UK, US, and several other nations that have agreed to share risk thresholds at AI. I think it's a great step. It's great cooperation that's needed with regards to artificial intelligence. Because if we don't have joint cooperation on this kind of level, it allows private companies and businesses take advantage of nations and whatnot with regards to artificial intelligence. And I think that's a dangerous precedent, especially when it can just, the internet is a wild, wild west, as we know. And anyone can get a hold of any kind of information that can lead people down the wrong paths and whatnot. And there needs to be safeguards. And I hope that this agreement will obviously, from everybody involved, including the UK, will lead to obviously the best protections that people possibly can for it. So let's read more into this, guys. So 27 nations and the European Union have signed a new agreement to create shared risk thresholds around the development of artificial intelligence to close the Seoul Summit on the safety of technology. The agreement will see the countries develop an international recognizing threshold for AI model capabilities when it should be considered and poses a severe threat without appropriate mitigations. That risk could include the potential of AI to help malicious actors acquire or use chemical and biological weapons, or by the technology attempts to evade human oversight through deception. The agreement, known as the Seoul Ministerial Statement, was signed at the conclusion of the AI Seoul Summit in South Korea, which the UK has co-hosted. Alongside the UK and South Korea, the United States, France, and the UAE were among those to sign up to the agreement. However, China, who was involved in the summit talks, did not sign the statement. Interesting. Why didn't China want to sign up? We do know that China wants to try and wants to have a leading role in technology in itself. Why would they not want to get in part of this? That's interesting. Technology Secretary Michelle Donelan, kind of really, ministers are not really going to be relevant at this point, but let's just hear what it is to say. It's been a productive 2 days of discussion with the UK and the Republic of Korea to have built upon a Bletchley Effect following our inaugural AI Safety Summit, in which I spearheaded 6 months ago. The agreement we have reached in Seoul marks the beginning of a phase 2 of our AI safety agenda, in which would take the world would take concrete steps to become more resilient of the risk of AI and beginning the deepening of our understanding of the science that will underpin a shared approach to AI safety in our future. For companies, it is about establishing thresholds of risk beyond they won't release their models. For countries, we will collaborate to set thresholds where risks become severe. The UK will continue to play a leading role on the global stage to advance these conversations. As part of the agreement, the signatories have now set the target of developing a risk proposal alongside AI companies, civil society, and academia so that they can be discussed at an AI Action Summit, which is due to be hosted by France in 2025. The announcement follows agreement that has also been reached on the first day of the summit, which saw 16 leading AI companies from around the world commit to publish safety frameworks on how they will approach specific risk around AI, and a second agreement within it between 10 nations and the EU to create an international network of AI institutions that will share research and other data. And this is good stuff. I like this. And these AI companies that are having agreements, these AI companies specifically, who are committed and work and are prepared to work much more in cooperation with nations, they will be better off, and they will actually be richer off in the long term, as opposed to AI companies that aren't going to necessarily be straight in cohesion with certain nations. If you are on these, if you're at these tables, if you're one of these AI companies at these tables, having them, yeah, it could be a very good time. And if you, it might even be worth putting your, if you're someone within the stock market, it might be worth looking at some of these AI companies that were at this summit, and maybe perhaps putting a couple of pennies into these companies that have some shares, buy some shares in them, because they could be worth quite a lot of money within the next 10 years or so. So probably worth looking into the companies that were there at Seoul, just as a tidbit of a little payment there. But in terms of artificial intelligence, I think this is good. Obviously, have to see how artificial intelligence continues to develop and grow. We've seen obviously some clips and whatnots of online of how some things have happened as well. But yes, safety and ensuring the protections of societies and whatnot, I think is very, very important. So I'm glad that the UK, along with US and the EU, some of the major Western countries have signed up to this. Still don't understand. It's a bit interesting that China's kind of not agreed to it, but maybe they will change their mind and turn things around. But we'll have to wait and see. But what do you guys make of this? What do you make of the nations agreeing? What do you guys make of artificial intelligence itself? What do you make of the fact that nations are kind of come together to form an agreements to ensure the safety of artificial intelligence among their nations, EU, US, UK, and others? Let me know your thoughts and more about this in the comment section down below, and let me know how important you think this is as well for the future of technology and artificial intelligence. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble, Patreon, or Facebook for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.